Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 3, where we are currently dropping our infamy and we're really, if we can get in here, there we go, we're really close to being able to attack the Sikh Empire basically consequence-free. So, naturally, I'm going to delay attacking the Sikh Empire slightly by going to Sind here, and we can simply, or not Sind, hang on, it's Macron. We can reduce autonomy here. They'll accept this, so we don't need to force this diplomatic play. This will give us one infamy, but I'm not too concerned about that. It's a very, very slight delay. Now, I have moved up these motor industries that were like down here, so we're just going to get those completed. And other than that, we're pretty much ready to go here. We are making a lot of money, and we're going to be capping our gold reserves relatively soon. What is the current cap on that? Yeah, we're at about half. Okay, so I did some calculations, and capping out our construction in Western Afghanistan, it would be great for our economy of scale, if these even get it. They do. Okay, so that is absolutely great, but this is going to eat up all of our surplus, plus a little more, if we cap that out. So let's not do that for now. I'm just going to give us about +8 here. So we're going to dip into this a little bit, but that'll be fine. Once we get laissez-faire, we're going to want that to be done, and we're going to need to build quite a lot more construction overall. But for now, this should do absolutely fine. And of course, Macron accepts our diplomatic demand, which is great. So we're going to be fighting the Sikh Empire fairly soon. The real question is, let's see, for reduction of autonomy out over here, they would accept this, but this would be a lot of infamy. Oh, we pass into consideration for laissez-faire. I actually kind of expected this to end up failing based on how it's been going. But I guess recently it's been going kind of okay. So we'll see. We would love to get laissez-faire done, of course. And we're going to get these constructions scaled up a little bit. So 142k right now. Yeah, that seems reasonably fine for the moment. We need to get these power plants completed and get our electrification done, right? So that is all something that we want to do. What decisions are currently available? A skyscraper site. 500 bureaucracy? You know what? We can do that. That's fine. We can give up 500 bureaucracy for the moment. That'll be absolutely okay. So at this point, we do want to boost up our number of construction sectors still. I want to take this up to probably, based on what we saw from that reduction there, I want to take this up to at least 15. But we're probably going to go even higher than that. For the moment, we're just wanting to put in a fair amount of construction. I don't feel like dropping taxes further is necessary, and I would rather build faster. So that is what we're going to do for the moment. Western Afghanistan is no longer inefficient to build in. It was inefficient when we built the previous construction sectors. Okay, we'll take it. That is absolutely fine. So we'll get those completed. That brings us down to about 90k. That will continue to drop a little bit. Now, I want to check in on market price of various goods. Mostly engines. Okay. So that is reasonably fine. Let's think about motor industries then. So Moscow, we can bump this up to an economy of scale of level 50, which means size 51 in Moscow. That's a lot of size, no doubt about it. And do we want to do this right now? Well, I'm thinking no, but eventually. So this is going to be something like that, right? And that's going to add a fair amount of construction time here, but I want to get these completed first. And then we'll get these motor industries done. We're just taking that up to the economy of scale cap. So from there, we can start expanding in other markets, in theory. And if it expands in private construction, great. It'll be at maximum efficiency. So that seems absolutely fine for right now. These government administrations are going to be finishing up fairly quickly, actually. We're constructing quite swiftly at this point, and we're going to continue to boost our construction. So we're going to take this up by another 5. I'm just keeping it kind of cautious because we don't want to get to a point where we are negative financially. We want to be running a small surplus at this time. We don't need a large surplus like we had, but a small surplus would be good. So that's all looking good. Our electrification is proceeding nicely. We'll take a look at these after we finish these 3. We are currently building an a power plant in all 3 of these locations. So for the moment, that seems fine. We do have some low formation organization. I'm not concerned about that until we actually get into a war. So for the moment, that seems absolutely fine. 33k right now, huh? Okay, this is going to be about 35k to max this out, a little more than that. So we're going to need to wait for our economy to expand a little bit before we max out Western Afghanistan's construction. But overall, this looks good. So that seems absolutely fine. We're working on all of the government administrations simultaneously now. We've even started working on a steel mill. Sounds excellent. Now, the government administrations are definitely going to make us a little bit, but it's not going to be perfectly efficient. So that all seems reasonably fine for right now. How much are we spending on paper right now? 116k, but what is the price of paper? Italy is improving relations. Okay, noted. So plus 7% on the price of paper. I'm not too concerned about that. At this point, theoretically, we could consider taking this up to the maximum. And I'm going to do it. We'll probably run a small deficit for a little bit here, but I do expect that should be fine. Glass is currently expensive, and it's not anymore, but we should probably consider building some glassworks here. So where would we want to put those? The answer is Ingria, and I'm going to put in 7 here. Something along the lines of this. So we're still going to be working on these power plants as top priority, and these construction sectors will be finishing up pretty quickly. I'm not too concerned about prioritizing those right now. I do want to get those glassworks underway. I think that will be very, very important. I find it very interesting that our glassworks going down to bone china is just completely useless. We could just prioritize glass production, but I think we do need some porcelain. So I think just sitting in this balanced position is absolutely fine. Houseware plastics would be very good. We have not invented plastics yet. We have a lot of oil. We need to keep that in mind. So where is plastics? That is right here. So we could definitely queue that up after our arc welding. And we're not going to further expand construction because arc welding is going to be a thing, and it's going to be quite a thing. No doubt about that. So we're doing fine on our innovation cap. Laissez-faire is likely to pass at this point. So that's all looking good. So this is our last 2 government administrations here. We are now working on those steel mills as well. So 3 weeks on this final government administration here, and we're running a small surplus at this time. That looks about right. Moscow still has an electricity shortage. How much of these are being built in Moscow? Actually, a lot of these private construction power plants are being built in Moscow. So I don't think we need to... That's actually a lot of power plants going into Moscow. I don't think we need to worry about that. Cool. So that should be absolutely fine. Glassworks in Ingria are going to be done in 7 weeks at this point. Checking in on our infamy, we're at 5.1. So if we made the Sikh Empire our protectorate, how much would that end up costing? 24.0. So I want to be under 1 infamy before we do that so that we don't go up over 25. That's the idea here. And we'll see how big of a war that becomes. We did progress to ascent on laissez-faire, and keep in mind, when laissez-faire passes, we're going to lose control over a significant amount of our construction, which is a good reason to expand our construction beforehand. It should also dramatically increase our reinvestment in our investment pool. So it should be the same amount of overall construction, but government construction will be lesser, and it will be more subsidized by our investment pool, is the idea. So that should be fine. We're going to be finishing our glassworks right now. I want to check in on the status on specifically government administrations. So let's check taxation capacity. Looks like we're good across the board. There's still 17.6k in unrealized taxes, but that is due to tax waste, probably due to turmoil, if I had to guess. Almost certainly due to turmoil. So that's all fine. We're going to be done with these constructions in 43 weeks. And yeah, there's a bunch of motor industries queued up right now, but that seems absolutely fine. Let's check in on our price of various goods here. So we definitely have some fine art deficits at this point. threshing machines have been unlocked. Okay, so steam-powered threshing machines is going to increase the demand for coal and tools. But we definitely want to do this. So we'll see how that ends up going, especially in terms of the price of tools. Okay, that's not budging it a huge amount, but we're definitely going to do this. Yes, I'm aware that this is going to be somewhat low for some of these. And it was just those farms. Okay, noted. So that's absolutely fine there. We only have rye, wheat, and rice farms. So the other farms did not have that available because we don't have them, obviously. So that'll be fine. I want to check in on what that does to the price of coal and the price of tools. So taking a look at this, we definitely could use some fine art. You know what? It's very strange. I don't think I've ever done it before, but we could build arts academies. It's very strange, no doubt about it. Where would we want these to be built? Probably in Kuban here. I'm just going to build 3 of them, and we'll see how that goes. But, I mean, that price is ticking upward, so that's fine. The price of coal has jumped a little bit, and the price of tools is pretty even. Okay, not too bad. So we could certainly build some additional coal mines to help with that, and basically, I'd want to max out the coal mines in Moscow, and let's just get that done. This is going to be maximizing the economy of scale in Moscow and overshooting it a little bit, so these are going to be maximum efficiency. 9 of them are. Sounds great. Absolutely wonderful. So that's all going to get done, and the question is, when is laissez-faire going to pass? Well, it's going pretty well, all things considered. We are running this small deficit, or rather, not small deficit, small surplus, and that's good. Romanian negligence? That's very rude. Get out of here, Romania. Get out of here. Okay, so our coal mines are going to be done in 8 weeks, same with our arts academies. That looks good. And these steel mills are going to be a while yet. And all those motor industries, of course. We're going to need the motor industries, although this is probably overbuilding them for this moment. We'll see how that ends up going, but for now, it's probably the case. Checking in on our infamy here, we're down to 3. And Great Britain re-rivaled us. Okay, what is their current strength? 13,860. So they're a little stronger than we are, for sure. There's no doubt about that. We could consider expanding our armies from this 70k marker, and I want to check in here. Why is the 3rd Russian army only at 33? I feel like we brought that up, although maybe we canceled that. Maybe we did. So that puts us at 35, and then we would want to, from there, get an additional 5 to put us at 40, and then taking this up to 15. Okay, so I think we want 17. Something like that. Yes, that puts us at 50. So we can expand that out. That'll be fine. And then our standard armies, we may want to get a new army. Yeah, we may want to get a new army. So if we hop into our military here, I would like to create army, and we'll create that army, say, down in Persia. I think that's a reasonable place to put it. And then we're going to bring this up by 10, and we can do this in, say, Saratov. I don't want to be too reliant on Moscow here. And then our artillery is going to come up by 10. And then, of course, our infantry is going to come up by 50. So we're going to want this to come in, I'm going to do, I think, up to 35 in Saratov. And then up to 35 in Samara as well. So this will need to be like that. Okay, so we're going to get that army going. And we can also think about expanding our current army size, perhaps to about 100. It's going to take some time to build these barracks, but that will go reasonably quickly. I think I want to move up the coal mines and the arts academies, but not really anything else right now. And then we'll do something like this. So those barracks will build very quickly. Very, very quickly indeed. but I want to get these finished up. Okay, laissez-faire goes through right now. So that puts us up to plus 69.7k, and we can establish a new company. What company do we want to establish here? We could do something like mineral producers. I'm kind of leaning towards metalworks, though. Tools, arms, and artillery? I think that's pretty decent, and we get the army offense out of it. So I think we'll do that for right now. I'm definitely a little bit concerned about getting our military going. Great Britain is embargoing us. Yeah, we need to be working on that. So we can see here we're definitely constructing a little more slowly, but we have a fair amount more funding. So we can think about getting somewhere around 10 construction sectors, but I'm going to do 5. So we'll get those going. And a lot of private constructions are now happening. Holstein abandoned their support for Great Britain in the diplomatic play against revolutionary Denmark. Okay. Noted. That's very interesting. No doubt about that. So let's get these construction sectors finished, and then the coal mines and arts academies, and then we'll just tear through these barracks for right now. The real concern at this moment... Well, first things first, I actually want to come up here and bring our military wages up to even. There we go. So Britain is currently busy. That's all fine. Ah, a Kishi proletarian diplomatic play. So this is not within our territory, right? This is a Kishi proletarian revolt. There's inefficient agriculture right now, and we'll take some migration attraction, I suppose. We could go to census suffrage instead of landed voting. Nobody likes this, and we probably won't. I'm going to send the National Guard over to this front here. So we're going to go deal with that with the National Guard. That'll be fine. And our training rate is, of course, going to be going up. So that is absolutely fine. So we're going to be working on these barracks for a little bit here. And this is all about making our 5th army, which is actually the 8th army, just to confuse them. You know, that makes a lot of sense. So we're going to be primarily expanding our economy at this point with our private constructions. We need to keep that in mind. But our private constructions are going quickly at this point. Over a full page of private constructions. So that seems good. And taking a look at our reinvestment, it's up to 224k. So that seems great. Pneumatic tools have been unlocked now, giving us additional construction sector building throughput, which is good. I'm wondering how much that's going to affect our balance here. But I'm not planning on further expanding our construction because we're going to be getting arc welding eventually, and that's going to be expensive. Very expensive. So for the time being, all we're doing is we're building these barracks. And that'll be fine. So we're going to be expanding our armies here, and that's fine. We're going to finish up the Kishi proletarian revolt very, very soon. And our infamy is currently 1.0. So that's fine, but what if Britain decides to interfere with this? What do we think the odds are that they will? They rivaled us. They are currently involved in the Danish proletarian revolt, but that's not a big war. And yes, I do see that we are currently running a deficit. That's not super shocking at this moment. I do expect that to turn around as our private constructions come through. That said, we do have an electricity shortage in the Yukon Territory and in Western Afghanistan. Both of those are going to need to be dealt with. Are they in the private construction right now? No. Okay, so I'm going to queue up for each of these, and that's an infrastructure now. We need to queue up for each of these in Yukon and Western Afghanistan. Okay, let's sort by name here, and we'll go down to Western Afghanistan and in Yukon Territory. Okay, Yukon Territory doesn't actually need one. It needs to employ up. Sure, that's fine. But we can definitely get one going in Western Afghanistan. So we're only going to be building the one power plant there. Broadly, this looks absolutely fine. We're going to have no problem crushing this. And we're going to finish up these barracks quite soon. Now, we are running a fairly large deficit at this point, which isn't shocking. We have expensive engines. Not a shortage of engines, but engines are currently expensive. We're going to get through these barracks pretty quickly, though, and we'll get back to economic constructions. That said, I do think that we probably should expand our armies. So we can take these out to Let's see. I'm currently thinking, what if we expanded our artillery and our cavalry to about 25? Or what if we took it all to 50? Let's see. Mobile artillery, trench infantry, and lancers are fine. So we know that we need to have more infantry than we do artillery and cavalry, but I don't think it's more added. Hang on. This is all... This is fine for the moment, actually. Yeah, that's reasonably okay. I do want to expand these. The question is, how do we want to create our template, if you will, right? So I'm currently leaning towards, I want to bring this up to a total number of 100. If we keep this ratio about the same, which the ratio has worked reasonably well for us, but I'm wondering what the required ratio should be, right? We could test that. So I'm currently leaning towards adding, like, 5 trench... Well, adding, like, 10 trench infantry. 10 of each, essentially. So that'll increase the ratio of our artillery and cavalry. Okay, so let's sort by job seekers, and we're going to add in... And I'm going to do this at the bottom of the list. 10. And then here we're going to do 10 and 10. There we go. So Moscow is going to be pretty close to capped out with that. I want to come in here and do 10, 10, and let's see here. It should be the second Russian army. 10, in case it. Okay, so that looks good. The first Russian army, we can grab, say, 10 from Bryansk. And then the... Well, we need to grab all of these. Okay, so Bryansk, yes, and Bryansk. That'll be fine. So these are at the bottom of the list right now. It's kind of a low priority. The third Russian army, we can have this come in from, say, Tver. So 1, 2, and 3. And then the 8th Russian army, which is currently in this situation. So this is going to be, I think we'll have this be from, say, Perm. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's a lot of barracks queued up, but it will work very quickly. So that's absolutely fine. Let's get that going. We're going to crush this without any problem whatsoever. That war has broken out. And then the primary question is, what happens if Britain decides to interfere in us attacking the Sikh Empire? Problems ensue at that point, obviously, right? So that's fine. There's breech-loading artillery, which will be good for us. Breech loaders for our artillery foundry, as well as going to shrapnel artillery. That's going to be very useful, actually. So let's get our breech loaders for our artillery foundry going right now. There we go. Yes, they'll have low productivity. I'm aware of that. That's increasing hardwood, but that's not a problem. Steel and tools, yeah, that's fine. So the artillery foundries, they're going to need more work, almost certainly. But now we can go through and have all of our mobile artillery upgrading to shrapnel artillery. And this will be a somewhat expensive process, but we can certainly get that going. So all of these will upgrade on up, and we can do that in the National Guard too. This is basically over at this point. So we'll get that going. Cool. So that looks fine. We can get that all upgraded. Yeah, this is now officially over. So that looks good. The synthetic solution, huh? Synthetic silk. I mean, that's a lot of expenses. No, we're not going to pay for that. Hand-cranked machine gun is spreading to us. That's a good thing. And if we take a look at this, we can now see 11,345. So yeah, oh, we just got stonks as an achievement. Have 3 companies at max prosperity at the same time. Okay, cool. So that seems good. So we're constructing a lot faster now, but we're constructing kind of a little too fast. We definitely don't want to continue to expand our construction sectors. There's no doubt about that. We might even want to get rid of our construction sectors in Alaska. What's that doing to the job seekers there? 157k? That actually seems okay. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about that one then. Cool. So we're going to continue to work through this first round of barracks. That's all fine. and then the motor industries are going to take some time. But we definitely need to expand our military, and that is something we're going to work towards. Our economy will need to continue to expand as we do this, but I want to go after the Sikh Empire. We have to wait until this diplomatic play is over. We can't declare a war while we're already quote-unquote in one, even though this one's over. So we have to wait until this is done, and we are currently at 0 infamy. So we want to declare this as soon as possible. Definitely. 1000%. We want to declare that as soon as possible. But we're going to get these barracks completed. They do go fairly quickly. No doubt about it. We've just got about a page and a half of barracks, so that won't be too bad. What is a little bad, of course, is running this deficit, but for the moment, it seems reasonably fine. We are cruising our way through all of this. It looks good. So, plus 27. There are a lot under recruitment there. We need to get these barracks completed as soon as we can. Britain will be a problem, and we're increasing our on-paper power, 12,276 now, compared to Britain's 14,199. So Britain is also increasing their on-paper power, which is noted. The disease will burn itself out given time. Indeed. So these guys are going to capitulate very soon. We don't have access to this, but they will capitulate very soon. Eventually. But that's fine. We're going to finish up these barracks. Actually, we're working on all of them right now. So that's phenomenal. I want to take a look at our goods now. Okay, that looks reasonable. Nothing too major here. We're going to have some issues, I believe, with things like ammunition, explosives, small arms, when we mobilize all of these armies. I think that's very, very clear. However, this capitulation happened, which means that we can declare on the Sikh Empire. And the question is, how does this end up going? We want to just force through the diplomatic play. They'll not accept that. The question is, will Britain get involved with it? I suspect the answer to be yes. And Britain can access this via the British Raj. We definitely can't take on Britain and the British Raj while they're doing things here. I strongly suspect that Britain is going to be leaning towards them. In fact, this is information that they're actually adding in the next patch. I'm going to make a save here, and I'm going to start the play, and we'll decide whether we want to revert back to this save or not after we have the information that gives us. They're going to be adding this in the next patch, I saw in the preview, but specifically what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to force the diplomatic play. And then we're going to hop in here, and I just want to see where Britain is leaning. Remarkably, they're in the center here. Okay. I think we're probably going to revert back. It's going to be, I mean, we're at the end of the episode here, so I guess we can make our decision next episode on whether we revert back there or not. I definitely do want to attack the Sikh Empire. It's all just a matter of, is Britain a problem? I mean, the answer is yes, but is Britain going to interfere? So, specifically, what they're adding in the next patch is they're going to be adding reasons that are shown to the player. These reasons exist currently, I believe, but they're going to be adding reasons that are shown to the player to indicate what direction and how easy it will be to sway Great Britain in this situation. Oh, well, any of these in this situation. So, to be clear, we're still reputable. So Britain might not interfere. And I guess we'll find out next episode. If Britain does interfere, we might be forced to back down. We'll see what the war goals end up looking like. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes. I think I've decided not to revert at this point, to be clear. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kentogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.